If I sincerely believe in thin ice, when I walk out on that ice, what's going to happen? I'm going through, right?
If it's thin.
If it's thin. If I have sincere faith in thin ice, when I walk out on that thin ice, baby, I'm going through. I don't care how deep my faith is. I don't care how sincere my faith is. So what that tells me is the validity of faith is not determined by its passion or its sincerity. It's determined by the credibility of the object that you believe in.
So you're saying that Jews who don't believe that Jesus was like a prophet, and that people who believe that Muhammad was the prophet, you're saying that they're wrong. That's a pretty bold statement.
Okay. Sir, if the atheist speaks the truth, I am wrong. If the Muslim speaks the truth, if Muhammad spoke the truth, I am wrong. If Siddhartha Gautama Buddha spoke the truth, I am wrong. Right?
Sure.
Okay. If Jesus Christ spoke the truth, then I'm going to heaven, because he promised eternal life to all who trusted in him. So, sir, let's be real honest. Pardon?
Do you trust Jesus?
I trust Jesus. But, sir, let's be real honest. Every time anybody makes a truth claim, I don't care if you're an atheist, a Hindu, a Muslim, a Christian, a Jew, that means whatever contradicts that truth claim is wrong. So, obviously then the question becomes, who are you going to trust to tell you the truth about God? Who are you going to trust to tell you the truth about heaven? Who are you going to trust to tell you the truth about the way to heaven? And I'm standing here saying, the reason that I think it's wise to trust Jesus Christ is because the historical evidence of the way he lived, the content of his ethical teaching, Robert Coles, the psychology professor at Harvard, pointed out, all the writings on ethics over the past 2,000 years are simply footnotes to the Sermon on the Mount. Ethical brilliance in the Sermon on the Mount.
And where did that come from?
From Jesus.
I'm saying before that. Like, you could trace ethical beliefs in Christianity to Egyptian beliefs. And
yes.
that you could trace to other beliefs.
Yes.
And I mean, you've only shown me that there's consistency within people, not within religions. And I asked my question again, why Christianity over other religions?
Well, the first point is I don't put my faith in Christianity. Christianity has been used to justify the Crusades, the Inquisition, the Salem witch trials, all right? I put my faith in Jesus Christ. Christianity has been used to justify slavery in the United States. I would never put my faith in Christianity, all right? Tons of problems with Christianity. Jesus Christ is different. He's reliable. His sinless life, his amazing ethical teachings, his death on a cross forgiving his enemies, and his resurrection from the dead convinces me he's reliable. I can promise you, sir, if you die and rise from the dead, I will listen very carefully to everything you have to say. So that's why I trust Jesus.
I mean, but other religions have miraculous, miracles that have happened that make them believe that. If you were a Muslim, you would be just as, convinced that Muhammad was the prophet. Just as convinced. And you'd be telling me that Muhammad is the truth and that he had the truth and not Jesus. Jesus was wrong. Everyone before Muhammad was wrong.
Okay. So now you and I are going to try and be objective in our search for truth. Which means we aim towards that, I hope. I hope you're being taught here at this fine university to try and be as objective as you can.
So you've given every religion an equal chance. That would be objective.
I could not disagree with you more. I used to be impressed with that line of thinking. It's impossible to do what you just said. And you see, what you just said, I think, doesn't show open-mindedness. Quite to the contrary, it shows cynicism towards truth. Obviously, there's no way that any one of us can study every philosophy, every worldview, and every religion equally. That's impossible.
You can try it.
It's impossible. You don't have that many hours in a day to study every philosophy, every religion, every worldview. You had better look out there and say, okay, what has the ring of truth? What seems to be plausible? What seems to be reasonable? And then you better go after the options. And if someone presents you an option that's better than yours, you better be willing to change, and I better be willing to change. So, be careful of that line of thinking, because it's pretty prevalent in our culture, but it doesn't show, I don't think, a real open-mindedness. Instead, it says, and I'm not really going to try, because I can't obviously study every philosophy and every religion equally. There's no way you could do that.
You only need to study two, though.
Pardon?
You only need to study two.
All right, what are the two?
So I'm saying everyone says that their religion's right. So you only need to study two religions to show that either one of them's wrong, because you said that like, the whole contradiction thing.
Yeah, good.
So
You bet. So I got Muslim friends.
okay.
Okay? So you bet. If I claim to love my Muslim friend, I better read the Quran. And I better seek to understand, why is my friend a Muslim? I've got atheist friends. So you're right. I better listen very carefully to why my friends are atheists if I claim to love them. And that's what I try and do. And so, sir, I'll tell you exactly why I'm not a Muslim. I'll tell you exactly why I'm not an atheist. I'll tell you exactly why I'm a Christian, a follower of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Because I have friends in these different belief systems. All right, I'll tell you exactly. The majority of my friends are materialists. The majority of my friends live for money. And I can promise you, sir, my friends are good at it. My friends are in Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Wall Street, and I promise you, sir, they are good at it. I am convinced to put your faith ultimately in materialism and making money is an incredibly empty life. Are there perks? Oh, yes, there are. Are there benefits? Yes, there are. Am I saying that money is evil? No, money's good. The Bible teaches that repeatedly. But to live for money, which is what the majority of my friends live for, wow, what a mistake.
I never got your name.
I'm Cliff.
Cliff, good to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Cliff, I'm sorry, but I still don't feel that you've answered my question.
All right, I'm sorry, what's your question?
Why Christianity over other religions?
Because the evidence is Jesus Christ is reliable in a way that none of the options are.
So Muhammad isn't reliable.
Not in the same way that Jesus is, correct. I have respect for Muhammad. He taught one of his 5 pillars, give alms to the poor. I respect that highly. So I respect that part of what he taught. But to trust Muhammad to give me the truth about God, in light of the way he lived his life, in light of the internal contradictions in the Quran, I could never do that. I'd have to part company with my brain. I can't do that.
So you can't have a brain and believe in Muhammad.
I personally am convinced that there are so many logical inconsistencies in what Muhammad taught that for me to follow him would be I'd have to cut off my mind.
Like what?
Like what? All right. Muhammad lived from 570 to about 632 AD. So obviously he never met Jesus. Right? He lives 500 years after, or more than 5.
Neither have I.
Right. But the eyewitnesses, those who met Jesus, Matthew, Mark, John, Peter, James, insisted Jesus claimed to be God. Now, Muhammad has a great deal of respect for Jesus, but he says Jesus is just a good teacher. He denies his deity. That's impossible. That's the one option about Jesus you can't take. Because clearly Jesus claimed to be God, which means he's either a false teacher or else he is who he claimed to be. He's not this middle ground option that Muhammad chose, which is, wow, great teacher, great prophet from God? No, because Jesus claimed to be God. He's either a blasphemer or else he spoke the truth. So there's an internal contradiction. It's who is Jesus? Just a good prophet the way Muhammad taught? Or God? Now, because Muhammad never met Christ, I'm not going to trust him to be my primary source of information. I'm going to go to the eyewitness. I think you would do the same.
So Jesus had no contradictions in anything he ever said, and none of the Bible has any contradiction at all. I don't know. I've only read selects. There's no contradiction in the Bible, 0, and in what Jesus said. You know more about it than I do.
There are textual problems in the Bible.
What does that mean?
That means the New Testament that we have today in English is based on over 5,200 Greek manuscripts, which means we have an incredibly high degree of certainty that we really have what the authors wrote, but there are variants in those manuscripts. For instance, Matthew chapter 1. In some of the Greek manuscripts, it's stated once, Jesus was the son of Mary, a virgin. But in other Greek manuscripts, twice in Matthew chapter 1, you've got Jesus was the son of Mary who was a virgin. So you obviously have manuscript variants. And Bart Ehrman, head of the religion department down at UNC Chapel Hill, I got to debate him about 20 years ago, and he just put out that best-selling book that a lot of people have bought that says, there are over 400,000 manuscript variations. But you see, the point he doesn't say is, but they are so small, they don't change anything. But there are variations in the manuscripts, so we got to be, honest about that.
And so going back to my original question of why not other religions, you've just shown me that Christianity has these variants and textual problems. And so wouldn't that lead you away from Christianity?
No. No, because there's no contradiction.
There's no contradiction.
The differences are so small as to be totally inconsequential. See, what truth changes between one Greek manuscript that says once Jesus was the son of a Virgin Mary versus another Greek manuscript that says it twice? I mean, it doesn't change anything.
So there's no contradiction in the Bible.
Well,
I cannot.
Here's the good news for you.
Yes.
I've been speaking on this university campuses for 32 years. And I've had religion professors, philosophy professors, students, brilliant students, far more intelligent than I'll ever be, tell me about all the contradictions in the Bible. They haven't hit one yet.
So there's no contradiction in the Bible. So just say, I want to be sure. I don't want to read the Bible today and find one that I think is a contradiction.
Good.
Because according to you, I'd be wrong. But
good.
I'd be confused.
All right. Well, let's clarify something. I'm going to talk to my wife later tonight. She's up in Connecticut. I'm going to say to her, I spoke to a very articulate young man who had a bike today.
That's right.
Later in the conversation, I'm going to say, honey, I spoke to over 100 people today. That's not a contradiction, right?
No, because I'm included in one of those.
Exactly. So I debate religion professors at times, and they'll say, well, one gospel says there was one angel in an empty tomb. Another gospel says there were two angels. There's a contradiction. If one gospel said there was only one angel at the empty tomb, and another gospel said there were 2, 3, 4, or 5, then you'd have a contradiction. It is not a contradiction for me to say, I spoke to one man, I spoke to over 100 people. Because my perspective at one point, yes, I was speaking to one gentleman. And obviously I did speak to over 100 people. So you have different perspective. It's like this. You see, this is really confusing. I don't know why some people far more intelligent than me don't get it. You and I standing on the street corner down there in Guadalupe. We see two cars come together. We hear a woman scream, and there's a screech of brakes, and there's a collision. So the police haul us into the office and say, what'd you see? And you say, well, officer, I saw these two cars coming down the street. I heard a screech of brakes, and there was a collision. I say, officer, I saw the two cars coming down the street. I heard a woman scream, and there was a collision. Are we contradicting each other? No. We're giving two different but equally valid perspectives. There was a screech of brakes, there was a woman screaming, and there was a collision. You include one detail that I don't include, I include one detail you don't include. It's not a contradiction. So yes, sir, you have that in the Gospels. You have different perspectives on Jesus.
So it's not as clean cut as you made it seem at first. I guess
I would argue it is clean cut.
Okay.
Guess what? Why? I would argue if all the Gospels said the exact same thing, I'd be really unimpressed.
Yeah.
Because they all copied off each other. They're just carbon copies. And I wouldn't be very impressed. I love the fact that there are differences in the Gospels, different perspectives. That's what I want when I'm studying history. I want different perspectives.
And I love how energetic you are and how passionate you're about this. But I feel like a Muslim would be just as passionate about his beliefs.
Good. And that is why if you believe in Jesus Christ because I'm passionate, you're a fool. You're absolutely right. For you to believe in Jesus because I'm a passionate follower of Christ, not a good reason. Because you're absolutely right. I could be a passionate atheist, a passionate materialist, a passionate Muslim. Just because someone's passionate. See, not only that, just because someone's sincere doesn't make their belief true, right? It's a great point you bring up. If I sincerely believe in thin ice, when I walk out on that ice, what's going to happen? I'm going through, right?
If it's thin.
If it's thin. If I have sincere faith in thin ice, when I walk out on that thin ice, baby, I'm going through. I don't care how deep my faith is. I don't care how sincere my faith is. So what that tells me is the validity of faith is not determined by its passion or its sincerity. It's determined by the credibility of the object that you believe in. So in other words, if I have a little bit of faith in thick ice, I walk out on that thick ice, I'm cool. I'm not going through. Because the object of my faith is reliable. So you're absolutely right. For you to believe in Jesus because I'm passionate would be a foolish decision. You've got to read the New Testament gospel, study it yourself, and ask yourself, does the evidence of the way he lived, taught, died, and rose from the dead point to his credibility, or does it not?
You're right. And I guess my point I was trying to make is that a Muslim would say that they're consistent and that they're more credible than Christianity.
Good. And that's why you got to read the Quran.
Any religion
Exactly.
says that they're the most credible.
Correct. And that's why you got to read it. You got to read it.
So that's my next step. Read all the. I can't read everything.
Okay, you can't. So take the ones that you think are serious options that have some degree of credibility, and pray, Lord God, whoever you are, I want to know you. If you're there, be open, be willing, and then go look for him.
Where do I start?
Well, obviously you know where I'd like you to start. I'd like you to read the Gospels, not as the Word of God. Okay, you don't believe that, so forget that. Just simply read the Gospels as history. What?
How do you know I don't believe that?
Well, if you do, fine, but I'd be surprised based on your line of thinking so far, but if you do, great. And just read the Gospels and ask yourself, does the evidence point to them being Jesus being reliable or not?
And I won't find any contradictions, of course.
You'll find plenty of contradictions with your lifestyle. That's what I find. When I read...
That's a personal attack on me.
No, well, but except that you're right. Except I said that's true of me. Okay, we're both in the same boat. You see, I love an indefinite God, because an indefinite moral God allows me to do whatever I want to do. I am offended by a definite, authoritative God, because that means I got to change, and I don't want to change. So there's the contradiction. The contradiction between me and Jesus is, I don't want to live the kind of life he calls me to live.
You don't want to live Jesus' life?
Mm-mm. I like being selfish. It comes very naturally. I like being greedy. There's a big part of me that does not want to give my money away. And that's why, to be honest with you, sir, I don't know that I have given enough away. I'm not sure that when I get to heaven, I'm not going to hear from Jesus. You know, Cliff, you were blinded by all the materialism around you in your culture, and you kind of bought into it too much. Now, I try to give away, okay? I try to obey Jesus and I try to give away, but I'm not sure that I haven't rationalized a lifestyle that is too opulent, it's too much taking care of me and mine, and not generous enough to God's unfed children. And you see, that bugs me. See, that'd be a very good reason for me not to believe in Jesus. Yeah. So that's the contradiction. And I don't know you, but I can almost guarantee you, because you're a fellow sinner like I am, that's going to be the hard part.
I'm a sinner?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no.
Well, Jesus says we all are sinners. And I've only met one student at MIT who claimed to be perfect. Now, if you want to be the second one, go right ahead and claim to be morally perfect, but I can promise you all of his MIT classmates burst into laughter. Because we know we're not perfect morally. We experience guilt. We know we've done wrong at times. I certainly have.
I think you all know me. I stepped out here, and I simply asked these two gentlemen to please, anytime you're trying to kind of, spread Christianity or talk about it, if you mention the word Islam, you kind of be gentle with it, because I believe that both of them were kind of affecting Islam indirectly, because they're kind of reinforcing this stereotypical Muslims, bad, terrorists, polygamists, all these. So I was imploring them, and so we got too deep in the conversations. And Mr. Cliff, right?
Just Cliff.
Cliff, you informed me that you asked me a question. Should I, as a Muslim, believe a man who was born after 500 years of the disciples? And according to you, I did not answer your question, but what I said, I believe it goes back further than Muhammad was mentioned in the Torah. You disagreed with me. You disagreed. And then you resumed the question, and you still assume that I didn't answer it. I brought the evidence that Muhammad is mentioned in name, in Hebrew, in Solomon, Song of Solomon. And I simply wish of you to read it out loud. Because it's right here actually.
Sure, I'll read it out loud. It's Song of Solomon 5.
In Hebrew.
16?
In Hebrew.
No, I'm not going to read it in Hebrew.
Oh,
Nobody
no,
here speaks
Hebrew matters. Hebrew is everything.
No, Hebrew's not everything. Language is language.
Differences in the Hebrew. You gotta be careful,
but
bro.
know something. Arabic names.
Every Hebrew scholar I've talked to does not think that that's Muhammad.
Arabic names have meaning.
You're pulling it up on the internet.
If you take, oh no, that's not internet. I have a similar name, and I know what it means. Don't tell me it's internet. No, that's me.
We're glad you're here. We love you. We respect you. You are totally wrong when you say that the Song of Solomon talks about Muhammad. Sir, Muhammad wasn't born till 570.
It's just like Jesus was mentioned in the Old Testament. He still wasn't born by
Jesus is not mentioned in the Old Testament as an historical person.
Why don't you read it out loud in Hebrew?
Didn't you hear what I said? Jesus is not mentioned in the Old Testament as an historical person.
Something about the lady who's pregnant, she steps on the snake, right? I mean, I think
That's not saying Jesus. Jesus is not mentioned in a document that is written before his birth.
I'm here to talk about Muhammad, though. I'm not, okay, like if he's not mentioned, then my bad. But I have here a verse in the Hebrew language. When it got
Read it.
Okay, I don't know how to read, but there is.
You don't know how to read it?
I don't know, but I know that the word is there. Read it out loud.
All right, I
It says
know.
Muhammad. Here it is. Why did you turn away? You're here to help me.
No, I'm not here to play games.
I'm not playing games.
Yes, you are.
No,
You're playing games.
I think you're blinded, sir.
You're blinded because you're
no,
playing games.
No, I'm not.
Fine, I'll read the passage.
My religion
Song of Solomon,
recognizes
chapter 5, verse 16.
in
Right?
Hebrew.
No, I'm going to read it in English for you.
No, it's not. You took the name.
His mouth is sweetness itself. He is altogether lovely. This is my lover. This my friend, O daughters of Jerusalem. There is no mention of Muhammad in
Why does
Song
it
of
say-
Solomon, chapter 5, verse 16.
Why does it say we kulu Muhammadim in the
That is
Torah?
not talking about an historical Muhammad. It's not even referring to him, sir. You're playing a
Why
little
is it
semantic
here?
game.
It's not gay.
You want to play a game? We'll go play basketball, okay?
Why do
I'm
you-
not out here to play semantic games.
Why do you refuse to look at it? You're
I'm
afraid.
not looking at anything.
You're afraid.
I just read it for you. You want me to look at it? I'll read it.
Look at it and read it in the Hebrew, and then see the translation and see what happens. That's all I'm asking of you. I'm not asking you the impossible. Read it in the Hebrew and see the translation and see what
Okay,
happens.
so let's move on to. Okay, we'll keep talking.
Okay.
How can we trust the Quran? Why is it reliable? And we'll compare it, right, to the Bible.
It's the same example right here.
This is a joke. A joke.
it's not.
Yes, it is. It's a total farce.
You're calling the Hebrew language
We
a
can
joke?
trust the entire.
No.
Is that what
The, the way the linguistic trick you're playing is intellectually dishonest. The Hebrew is not talking about an historical person, Muhammad.
You still haven't read it, by the way.
I did read it.
No, you didn't read it out loud.
Oh, I'm not going to read it out loud. If you want to read it out loud, go right ahead. I read out loud
I already did.
that verse out of the NIV, a very accurate translation of the Hebrew.
But then, it's not accurate.
Yes, it is
Because
accurate.
The name Muhammad means the one who is altogether lovely, which is the thing that you read.
Yeah.
But then when you translate the name Muhammad to altogether, you miss the name Muhammad. If you became the masters in the biblical religion, you will never recognize it was Muhammad because the name was taken.
You don't have masters in it. Do you have masters in it? In
Well,
Hebrew?
apparently, man, he doesn't know,
No, you
man.
don't.
He's laughing and
Okay,
he's
so
walking away.
you're
Why is he
playing a
walking
game.
away? Why is this a game?
Sir,
This is
you've got to
the
learn to
religion.
defend your faith better than stringing some words that don't mean Muhammad and acting like they do. That's talking about a lover in a love poem, the Song of Solomon. It's written 1,000 years at least before Muhammad ever lived.
I don't know. It's true that I don't know Hebrew, but I know very well that Muhammadim, the M in the end of the Hebrew language refers to a person who is highly respected and to be a prophet. That's the M. It's just like Elohim, but hey, you know Hebrew.
Now let me ask you, who raised Islam out here today?
Here,
Yeah, who?
it's the same concept.
Who raised Islam out here? Did I do it or did you?
Not me, no.
Yes, you did.
Yes, did. There
We
was
were talking
Muslims
about
here.
atheism and agnosticism. You stood up here and raised Islam. So stop accusing us of raising
Yes,
Islam.
because you're using it
I have
to hurt
told you that I
people.
respect
We
you.
haven't even talked about it.
I
Yes,
love
you
you.
indirectly hurt.
No,
You
absolutely
indirectly-
not.
Every time
You're the one who raised it.
You're
Now, if you're going to jump into the kitchen, it gets hot.
You're not listening to me.
Yeah, you're not listening to me.
You're not listening to me.
You
sir.
don't listen to me either.
You are enforcing the stereotype.
I'm not enforcing
It's hurting
anything.
people.
You have
Talk about
interrupted,
Muslim-
and you're
talk about
talking
Muslims, how
nonsense.
like bad, how they're terrorists every time you talk about it.
I never said that once.
You
We
mentioned
said the
it.
opposite.
It was you.
Muslims
You
are not
talked-
all terrorists.
You mentioned how Muhammad was violent, and you did not give
Muhammad
me
was violent.
No,
Surah 9. Surah 9, Muhammad writes, kill the infidel. That's violence.
Kill the
That's
infidels who attack
Never
you.
carried a sword. Never. You're right.
Muhammad
attacks you. We already
Look,
talked
we don't
about
want to
this.
talk about Islam. Why are you forcing us to talk about it and then accusing us
I'm
of raising
simply
it?
asking you to recognize people and
No, you're not asking. You ask
You
a question,
need-
I begin to answer, and you interrupt me.
You need to
You're not
recognize
asking.
Islam.
I did read it.
Okay, but you didn't read it out loud, and you're still not.
I'm not going to read it out loud.
I'm here to convince you.
Because it's a
And yet-
false translation.
No,
I'm not going to read it.
Go through every synagogue. I bet you know some rabbis in a lot of synagogues. Why don't you go ask them, and they will tell you the same thing. I dare you.
I got many rabbi friends. I meet with them on a regular
That's
basis.
good news,
and they
man.
are intellectually
You make my
honest.
heart-
The Old Testament never once
man.
talks about Muhammad. Never once.
Go ask
and
them
neither
this
does the New
part.
Testament. It doesn't
Go
talk
ask
about
them
Muhammad.
this part. And make sure you ask many
And
of
by
them.
the
Go
way,
ask
we
one.
respect you and we love you and we're glad you're
No,
here in the
you
United
don't.
States.
You're not
So
listening
don't
to
lump
me.
us into a stereotype.
No, you're not listening.
We celebrate Muslims being here in the United States. We are here to defend you. But when you're intellectually dishonest and when you lie, we're going to call you on it.
And you haven't
I
read
still
it.
respect
And you still haven't read it.
I just did read it. You gave it to me and I
you
read
didn't read it out loud.
I'm not going to
It
read
makes
it
all
out
the
loud.
difference in the world.
You can read it out loud.
Oh, that's what I already did. وَكُلُّ مُحَمَّدٍ. That's what it says in the Hebrew.
Thank
when
you.
it got translated, they took the name Muhammad, who means altogether lovely, and they say this guy who is altogether lovely. So everybody in the world right now is not going to know that Muhammad was here. Why don't? Could you please comment on that?
No. Why do you trust
No,
Muhammad?
because you can't.
Oh, it's easy,
Oh,
sir.
because you
Any
can't.
Hebrew
You're running
scholar can
away.
tell you that Song of
away.
Solomon, chapter 5, verse 16, is not talking about a dude who was born in 570 AD and lived till about 632 AD.
And yet here it
Muhammad.
is.
It's not talking about that. It was written 1,000 years before, so it's
yet
not
here it
talking
is.
about Muhammad. It's not. And you're intellectually dishonest if you say that. The same way
yet-
I would be intellectually dishonest if I said the Old Testament mentions Jesus of Nazareth. No, it does not, guys.
You
The
know,
Old Testament was written
just wanted to
BC,
say it's as
before
simple as
Christ.
this.
The Old Testament
Google
never
Solomon.
mentions the word Jesus.
Google Solomon, and it would be there.
Sir, your Muslim friend wants you over there. Why don't you go and have
actually.
a good day over there, okay?
Solomon 5:16 in Hebrew, and you'll see it.
All right.
Think of me, I'm crazy, but just make sure you have time for it. to
We
see
are
it.
glad you're here in the United States. Welcome. It's good to have you, and I
wish you
appreciate
had
it. Okay?
answered me.
I have answered you.
No, you
You don't listen.